What's good, Black Star Podcast? Welcome back to the channel, it's your boy Jared. Y'all, so TK posted a video 6 hours ago, and it was about the new Grand Wagoneer. Now, I haven't heard about the story, so let's go ahead and start. And apparently, it's of a Grand Wagoneer shutting down the highway. Let's get it.
So imagine you own a vehicle, right? You buy this vehicle because it's, you've always had Tahoes, and you want to get something that's big and spacious, but quasi-luxurious. And then you buy a Wagoneer. Welcome on back to TK's Garage. Now imagine you buy this Wagoneer and everything's been great on it, and then you're driving down the highway and the vehicle shuts off, the brakes fail. Luckily, there's nothing in front of you. None of the components on the vehicle work. Steering becomes exceptionally hard. All the power steering fails. Obviously, the vehicle has shut off, and you're unable to restart the vehicle. And then it throws itself in park at about 20 miles an hour. And you hear that faithful boom. You press the button and it starts back up like nothing happened. But then it happens again. These Wagoneers, these Grand Wagoneers, are a safety hazard. And there are so many, and I'm going to show you something here in a second, so many of these on the road doing this now, that there's now, as of today, a technical service bulletin about this and what to look for with the wiring harness. And I want to talk about how cost cutting that Carlos Tavares has been doing is going to get somebody killed.
Now, sorry to interrupt right here. Copyright. I'm not trying to get copyright from TK. When these vehicles first came out, I actually wanted one. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted one, but I can't afford $100,000 car. Now, these vehicles are some of the most technologically I don't want to say enabled, technologically equipped vehicles on the road. You have the touch screens, you have the passenger side touch screen, you have all the you have all of this stuff integrated into the car's ECU and power systems. The fact that this car turned off and threw itself into park at 20 miles an hour after shutting down. Excuse me? You're telling me that a sub $100,000, almost $150,000 truck shut down at highway speeds, possibly. And you're telling me that this company, Stellantis, is continuing to produce these vehicles, and their cost-cutting measures, boy, I will tell you something. This is insane. Not only are you cost cutting by firing and moving jobs overseas, but your cost cutting could potentially get somebody killed because the people that you are hiring to cut costs don't know what the fuck they're doing and could potentially get somebody killed because they misprogram something and the car shuts down like this car did, or blown head gaskets, or something magically just starts loosening itself up and falls off, that's crucial to stopping the vehicle. You're telling me that, boy, what's next?
So you want to know what's going to bankrupt Stellantis? You want to know what's going to cause this company the biggest financial strife in its combined history? It's going to be lawsuits. That's it. It's 100% going to be lawsuits. One of the things that Carlos Tavares has done since he's been CEO is, as we're seeing now, he's chopping up factories. I'll have an update for you guys on the ZF situation, because it looks like they're buying American factories too. But he said he came to America and he said in Detroit that he needed to cut 30% of his costs, right? Outside of the costs you're already cutting. The main wiring harness for the Jeep Grand Wagoneer has no wiggle room. I don't know about you, but you guys know, if you've watched this channel long enough, that when I first started this channel, I was like rebuilding cars. I was buying wrecked cars at Copart, putting stuff back together. And when you tear these apart and you're taking all the interior and stuff out and you get to those wiring harnesses, like we did when I rebuilt 3 different versions of the Green Monster, the wiring harness had I could pick it up. I had slack in the wiring harness, okay? These Jeep Grand Cherokee Wagoneers, like, I've literally seen videos. I've had videos sent to me from the factory. Now, I want to share them with you, but I also don't want to get the employees that are sending me this information messed up or in trouble. But they're showing me how this goes in, and they have to, like, literally pull on the wiring harnesses and try to get them to snap into place because there's no room. And what's happening is...
Okay, so that's a crucial bit of information, because I worked at a plant. He's right. Those wiring harnesses are the way that BMW does their wire harness versus Stellantis. I can already tell you this. BMW allows wiggle room. I worked in 2 parts of the plant. I worked in where they built the X3 and the X4 models, and I also worked in the hall where they built the X5, 6, and 7s, and now the current XM. I actually worked in that factory. So I know exactly how those harnesses were put in those vehicles. With BMW, there's 2 harnesses. There's the rear main harness the interior harness that controls the seats, the infotainment system, the rear hatch, all of that. And then you got the engine harness and all of that. Now, the main harness is the harness that's inside the body that connects to the engine harness that provides power to go to different points in the car. If you're pulling on that, you have wires that could potentially snap with those harnesses inside those harness wires. You can snap a wire or snap several wires, or you could depend one of the connectors or several connectors at that, depending on how much tension's on that wire.
Because of other build quality issues, body bonding, and other stuff not being done correctly, these Jeep Grand Wagoneers are going down the highway and they get on the throttle and they start doing this. They twist a little bit, similar to what we saw with the Challengers cracking the windshields, right? Well, when you already have a wiring harness that has no room to move, it starts breaking the line or stressing a line or maybe getting something to crack and causing issues with the computer, like we're seeing. And not to mention cheap components, bad programming, data collision. All of this are fatal flaws of these Jeeps and Rams. Now, right here, I want you to see this post because they posted it. Now, I can't share the video. If you want to see the video, you got to go over to Facebook and go see it. I hadn't heard back from the owner, so I don't need to get a copyright claim on their video. But they literally video and show the issue while they're driving down the highway of the vehicle shutting off, dying, coming to a stop, and locking itself out in park. It's time for NHTSA to do its job. The biggest thing I hear all the time is, oh, the government's here to protect us. Well, it's time for the government to get to governing. It's time for NHTSA to slap the shit out of Stellantis and make them fix this. Now, granted, this is going to cost Stellantis a ton of money to replace these wiring harnesses. A ton of money. But they need to think about this. You can either spend it now, or you can lose more brand loyalty and lose way more money when you end up killing somebody. And at that point, I'm hoping that our Department of Justice here in the United States charges the executives that made the decision to make that wiring harness shorter to save a little bit of money. I hope they criminally charge them with murder, negligence, manslaughter, whatever it's going to be. Because I can tell you right now, you're not going to continue to drive these on the road and somebody's not going to die. It's going to happen. And the only person at fault here is Carlos Tavares. He's made the choices. He pushed the narratives. If I was like I've already had conversations with other people at Chrono Moss. If I was a law firm right now, I'd be setting up class action suits to nail these SOBs 7 times to Sunday, man. It's ridiculous. But let me know what you guys think about the Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer issues with the wiring harness and this thing in the comments section.
You know, shout out to TK, because, boy, I'm going to say this. The fact that this is happening and Dodge has Stellantis has no idea what the hell they're even doing with this. It speaks to a bigger issue that I have that could potentially get a lot of people killed. And the problem is, you have Carlos Tavares literally making more money now and got a raise just because of the sales numbers due to what Tim Kaniskis did with the Charger and Ram. I mean, the only thing I can say is this. As a guy that wants to buy a Mopar car, I'm going to just say this. I suggest you guys buy another product, maybe a Cadillac or maybe a Chevy or maybe something. Stay with those brands. Although I like Ram, but if it was me, I'm getting an older Ram. I'm not getting a new Ram or any of that stuff. I'm not. And the fact of the matter is that Stellantis is gonna bankrupt Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. It's going to happen. And like TK said, if it's going to be with class action lawsuits or it's going to be with them losing brand loyalty. All I'm going to say is this. Boy, ain't no fucking way. This is happening. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, channel, support the podcast, and Spotify.com. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Thank you guys for listening. Bye, guys.